Conservative New Media viewers, JLin fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Brooklyn's 121-110 victory tonight over the New York Knicks in Manhattan, New York City at Madison Square Garden. Knicks dropped 27-42 on the year, including 16-18 at home. Nets improved to 13-54 on the season, including 5-29 away from Barclays Center. Woo-hoo. This was a really great game, and what happened in the game was that the Nets were down by 7 points at half, and honestly, they looked flat. They just weren't into it, and nobody really was into it on the team. They just didn't look like they had their sync, but they totally turned that around in the second half, particularly in the third quarter when they outscored the Knicks by 12 points, 38-26. JLin had a tremendous amount to do with that. He was a monster in the third quarter, and they also outscored the Knicks by 6 points in the fourth quarter, which led to the comfortable 11-point victory. Statistically, they out-rebounded the Knicks heavily, 50-34, including 12-5 in offensive rebounds, which is really surprising given that the Knicks don't allow many offensive rebounds to their opponents. They only give up 5 per game, and the Nets got 12 of those. Of course, some of that was probably due to the absence of Kristaps Porzingis, who did not play in this game with a thigh contusion. And the Nets were missing both Joe Harris, who is over this concussion, but he's still having trouble with a sprained shoulder, and Trevor Booker, who was sitting out the game for rest. The Nets also were much better from the three-point line than were the Knicks. The Nets were 10 of 31, whereas the Knicks were 3 of 16. So those were the two main statistical reasons why Brooklyn won this game. Individual stats: Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 20 points and 10 rebounds. I think this was a new career high for Rondae in points scored in a game. If it wasn't new, it tied his existing high for points in a game. Brook Lopez, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Randy Foye, 10 points, 4 rebounds. Karis LeVert, 13 points, 7 rebounds. The bench was terrific. Everybody that played tonight on the Nets bench scored at least 6 points. Spencer Dinwiddie, 6 points, 3 assists. KJ McDaniels, who got a look tonight, 9 points, 5 rebounds. He's looking like he could stick around. And remember, he's a very athletic player, and he would fit the Nets style great. As long as he can play smart, shoot the ball decently, I think he'll be a great acquisition for like a 10, 11, 12th man, somewhere in that zone. Maybe even more as he improves in the future. Isaiah Whitehead, 8 points. Justin Hamilton, who played tonight in the spot of Trevor Booker, 7 points, 6 rebounds. He was good. Quincy Acy, 9 points, 5 rebounds, and he hit 1 of 2 3-pointers, as he is just amazing from 3-point range. So what we saw tonight then is the Nets, and I said this on Twitter, the Nets need real depth, because not only will they sometimes play 11 men, although Coach recently has been playing 10 men, but they often rest players, and they play at a very fast pace, which is the fastest pace in the NBA. They need to have, just to be comfortable, just so they can manage it when they rest guys, because, again, that's their approach. They're going to rest guys a lot, and they don't play guys too many minutes. They need to be about 12 men deep, maybe even 13 men deep. Usually when you get down to like your 11th, 12th, 13th player, they don't need to be very good, and often they're not very good. But the Nets guys that are in those positions, they are good. 10 men played tonight, and that doesn't include Trevor Booker and Joe Harris. And I'm missing one other person who's also in that mix, and it's like these guys can play, and they need to be able to play. So Brooklyn is consciously working extremely hard to churn the bottom of the roster and make sure they get guys that really can play. And I've said this before, it reminds me a lot of the Spurs. And the way that the Nets play and the way that they approach everything is like the Spurs. They run a similar offense. They play a lot of different guys. The bench is usually very good. They rest guys a lot and so forth. And it makes sense since GM Sean Marks came from the Spurs, or he spent time in the Spurs organization, I think, as both a player and as in either an assistant coach or in the front office, maybe as an assistant GM. I can't remember right now. This is the way to do it. This is how you're going to have long-term success. And I just couldn't be happier. I'm really happy for KJ McDaniels. Hopefully he can stick around. But the only two men who didn't play tonight that I think were active were Andrew Nicholson and Archie Goodwin. Of course, Archie Goodwin was just picked up. But there were three inactives, and I'm forgetting somebody here besides Joe Harris and Trevor Booker. And unfortunately, I'm just not remembering that person right now. So my condolences. But like I said, the Nets, they are continuing to find their groove, and guys who haven't played much, like Justin Hamilton, he's playing well. He comes in, he plays well. That's ideally what you want. Professional guys who, even if they don't get to play much, when you call on them, they're ready. And if you play on this team, you are almost certainly going to get an opportunity, unless you just really, really, really are not a good player and you're at the very, very end of the bench. You're going to get a chance to do something, because that's the way that this roster is designed, and it's worked extremely well. I know who I forgot, of course, and that is Sean Kilpatrick, who is out with the hamstring injury. Hopefully Sean will be back relatively soon. I don't know the exact status. So 10 men played tonight, and then you have three guys who are regular contributors: Kilpatrick, Harris, and Booker. That right there, with the 10 men who played tonight, that's 13 players. And the number 13 guy out of that mix is probably KJ McDaniels, and he showed something tonight with his 9 points. So if the Nets can be 12 or 13 deep, even if they kept this same roster, which I don't think is going to happen over the summer, I think they will get better. They're certainly going to try to get better with the draft and trades and such. But even if they kept this roster as it is, they'd still be pretty good next year, because now you have true depth. You know where guys fit, essentially. You know, you have a pretty good idea of who should start and who should come off the bench. The guys know each other better. Everybody knows that gets to play their natural position with Jeremy back, and you have good point guard play now. This is like, again, it's like a Spurs. I mean, they don't have quite the level of players as like a Kawhi Leonard or prime Tony Parker, or certainly not a prime Tim Duncan, but you have solid players in every single position, and everybody contributes. And it's much harder to stop a team like that, because you don't know where it's going to come from. You don't know who's going to beat you on a certain night. It could be anybody. And I'm just extremely pleased with the way that the team looks right now. Again, they're 4-5 since in the last 9 games. They're 4-7 since the All-Star break. Also, I will say that they now improve to 8-1 in games this season when Brooklyn scores 119 or more points. Again, Brooklyn wants to score. They want a shootout. They want to run, and they want to score. They still need more skill in terms of shooting ability, and they lost that with Boyan leaving, of course. But they have the athletes, and they have the depth to run with any team now. They can run with anybody. They just need a little bit more skill, a little bit more talent in that core lineup, and they're really going to be right in the mix of a playoff hunt, in my opinion, next year. So, great. JLin, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Jeremy played 30 minutes tonight. His minutes keep kind of creeping up, even though he's only at 30. He played 9 minutes in the third quarter tonight. That's the most he's played in any quarter since he's come back. He shot 5 of 16 from the field. Not the best shooting night, but that's okay, including 2 of 9 from three-point range. 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 2 steals, no block shots, 1 turnover. So 8 assists, 1 turnover, which is incredible. 3 personal fouls. His plus minus was a plus 14. All the starters were plus 9 or better. And Jeremy, what was great about this game was Jeremy was huge in the third quarter. Just had a monstrous third quarter. But what was so good with this is that at halftime, Jeremy had 6 points and 4 assists on 2 of 9 shooting. So he didn't look good. He really didn't look good. Just as the last game, I think it was, he didn't look that great at first. But unlike the past, like, it doesn't bother him anymore. He knows he can get his stats as the game goes on. That's really good because you don't see him really forcing things much any longer because he knows he's going to get the ball. He's going to get plays run for him. So whenever he wants to kind of catch up on his stats, he can. And at one point in this game, he went from 2 of 9 shooting to 5 of 13. If nothing wrong with 5 of 13 is pretty good. It's not great, but it's solid. So it's like he's come to a point where he just is comfortable letting the game come to him, and he knows eventually throughout the contest he's going to get his stats. And that's just a much, much better place to be. Particularly if you're one of the leaders of the team, you want to get your stats just because you feel like you need to get them to help the team. That's why Jeremy was so distraught 2 games ago when they played the Knicks in the comeback game. And Jeremy's comeback game. And it's like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not helping enough. Now he's just much more comfortable letting it happen. And it's just happening. It's happening easily. So he played great tonight. He led the comeback in the third quarter when they went from down 7 points to up 5 points at the end of the quarter. That was the most important quarter of tonight's game. He had 8 assists, and he also had 6 would-be assists, at least 6. Would-be assist is a combination of what I call blown assist, when you hit the man and they miss the shot. It's a combination blown assist for fouls. You pass the ball to the man, he goes up to score what he's fouled. Assist for offensive fouls, which is you pass the ball to the man, he goes up to shoot, and he gets an offensive foul. So nobody gets anything on that, but the pass was still good, and it was still there. And similar things. So it's that type of thing. So he had 8 true assists and 6 would-be assists. So he's distributing the ball great. He's running the team, but it's still allowing other guys to score too. Brooke, 24 points. Ronnie Hollis-Jefferson, 20 points. Karis LeVert, 13 points. And something that Coach said in a recent interview was he wants Karis LeVert to be able to create more. This is what I said, create, meaning have the ball in his hand and create off the dribble, make plays. That helps Jeremy. That lets Jeremy play off the ball a little bit more so he doesn't get worn down. And it lets Jeremy score more because he can then play as the guy like a shooting guard rather than the point guard. So everything's working out great. I just, you have to be happy with this game. And just a reminder, and we'll talk about this in a bit, but the team plays tomorrow night too. Remember, this is a back-to-back. They are playing Boston tomorrow, so get prepared for that. So hopefully the guys weren't too... I don't think anybody played more than 30 minutes, and that's good as you head into the back-to-back. You don't want to be too tapped out as you go into that second game. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's what happened in the game. That's what Jeremy did. So now let's go through some quarter by quarter, just add a little bit of what I had from my notes. Jeremy said after the last game against the Thunder he really is starting to trust his body to attack the basket, and his body is coming around. Like he's starting to feel like himself again and not be nervous, which is a great sign. I think tonight was the 11th straight game he's played since coming back, so that is really good. Atkinson said in a recent interview that the team is still very unified. And so what that means is, obviously, that's a great sign. It also means when you lose a lot, teams usually fracture. And guys just kind of, they want to get their own stats, or they care more about going out, or whatever it is. But that's not happening on this team. And that's a testament to the character of the team, of the roster, and the good job done by Coach Atkinson himself. Coach Atkinson also said that he believes that Karis LeVert can be an elite player in the NBA. I agree with that 100%. As you guys know how high I've been on Karis throughout this season. I think he's going to be a terrific NBA player, provided that he's able to stay healthy. Atkinson also said that he wanted to rest Trevor Booker, but he said also that he wanted to look at other guys. Now, people have asked me, are they tanking and all this stuff? Well, obviously, they're not tanking since they won tonight, but there will be some consideration given to try out the young guys, try out the new guys. So that might happen. But again, the good thing is almost everybody on this roster, pretty much everybody, honestly, is talented. Now, I don't know about Archie Goodwin and some of the new guys, but I do know, and Archie Goodwin can play. I've seen him in the past. He's not bad. So almost anybody you put out there is pretty good. So even if they do that and rest some of the guys they're already clear about, the Nets are still going to have a good chance to win the game, just as what happened tonight. Okay? I already said that about how Brooklyn needs to be 11, 12, 13 deep. I guess a new nickname, according to Ryan Rocco on the Yes Network broadcast, is the new nickname for Lin, LeVert, and Lopez. That trio is the L Train. L Train is a subway train, I think, in New York City and probably in other cities as well. So that's a takeoff a subway car, but that is apparently the nickname, of course, because all of their last names start with the letter L. Brooklyn came into tonight's game since the All-Star break. They were shooting the 7th best three-point percentage in the league since the All-Star break. Before the All-Star break, they were shooting 26th best in three-point percentage. That shows you the Jeremy Lin effect and just also how much the team has improved overall besides Jeremy since the All-Star break. Things have turned around so much. Karis LeVert said to, I think, Sarah Kustok, that Jeremy Lin being back has really helped his development. And Karis said that Jeremy helps direct him on the court. Like, you're supposed to be here, and in this set, you're supposed to be here. Go here, do that. And so Karis is giving props to Jeremy for really helping Karis develop even faster. Coach Atkinson also said in this interview, when they were talking about this interview throughout the game, that with Jeremy being out for so long, it has let other guys develop. We've talked about that throughout the season. If Jeremy had been around this year and not hurt, the Nets would have won more games, but Karis LeVert and Isaiah Whitehead would not have developed as much as they have. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise in some ways. It's not great for Jeremy. It's not what he wanted, but the team has improved, and so Jeremy comes back to a better team, and honestly, there's a little bit less wear and tear on Jeremy throughout this season. So it's kind of worked out for everybody, actually. Okay, let's see another note. Yeah, Jeremy in the second quarter was really working hard to set up other guys to score. In the third quarter, he kind of mixed up shooting and passing. But in the second quarter, I thought he was primarily focused on setting other guys up. But you can see that during the games, he'll adjust his approach. He wants to move the ball. He wants to get other guys involved. But when he thinks he needs to score, then he'll start looking for shots. So in the second quarter, I thought he was a little bit more focused on passing, and that's good, because in the third quarter, again, he's scoring a little bit better. Okay? Then you could see at one point, Carmelo Anthony fouled Jeremy in the third quarter. Let me just say this. In the third quarter, Jeremy had 9 points, 4 assists, and 1 rebound, as well as 2 would-be assists. So he had a monster third quarter. Just was controlling everything. And I mean, that was about as good as it gets for him right now. He looked fantastic in that quarter. So he scored a lot. He moved the ball a lot. He basically was dominating everything. And as I mentioned, he played 9 minutes of game time, which is the most he's played any quarter since he's been back in these 11 games after the All-Star game. But Jeremy was going for a shot or something, and Carmelo accidentally elbowed him. But then you could see they were talking and everything was all good. And they had a moment like that in the last Knicks-Nets game, in the comeback game. And so, you know, look, they may never be the best of buddies, but you see, they get along. And whatever happened, it's over. Jeremy's doing great now, so who cares? And you just live and let live. So that was good to see, though. You know, they respect each other. Then I put that Jeremy is taking control now, and Jeremy is dominating now. That came with about 6.5 minutes left in the third quarter. He was just, when he wants to take over, you can just see it. He'll score, he'll pass. He kicks up the pace and the energy of the game, and it seems like he's everywhere. And that's what he was doing here, and it worked extremely, extremely well. Okay. Let's see here. I put KJ McDaniels doing well late in the third quarter, so I hope he can stick. He played for Houston, and they kind of, my understanding is they gave up on him. So Jeremy knows all about that, and hopefully KJ can stick around. He does have a lot of athletic talent. I know that. And that works for the Nets in the running style. Okay, now moving into the fourth quarter. What is that? Yes, Coach Atkinson, once again in this interview, they kept mentioning, it was some interview, a question and answer he did with some Evan Roberts, I think, on maybe ESPN radio in New York. He said that Jeremy being back has just helped so much. We're so much more composed as a team with him, and he's making me a better coach. And in other words, he's so good, he makes me look better as a coach. And they also mentioned, did Ryan Rocco, that the team trusts Jeremy. And you can see that. Like I've said many times, this is what Jeremy wanted. And that's why this situation is so good for him. First of all, you've got a great roster of character guys. Nobody on this team, as far as I understand, has any serious, real issues. There's no problem guys or anything like that. Everybody gets along. Everybody likes Jeremy. They trust Jeremy. They look at Jeremy as the leader. They want him to have the ball late. And that fits with how Jeremy sees himself. He wants to be the leader. He wants to be the go-to guy. He wants to be the mentor. And it just fits perfectly. And obviously, Coach Atkinson believes in Jeremy 100%. So it's just everything's working perfectly right now. And this was a great game. It was fun. It's a big win for the Nets. And let's move into tomorrow and try to keep the momentum going. That game will be, as I said, tomorrow, Friday, March 17th here in the United States, which is St. Patrick's Day, which is basically it's a celebration of Irish heritage here in the United States. I can't remember if they have St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. They probably do. I should know, but I don't recall. But here in the United States, it's a very big festive day. A lot of people go out and party and parades, and obviously it's kind of ties in with the Nets game tomorrow because they're playing the Boston Celtics. Boston being kind of the quintessential Irish influenced city in America. So they will be taking on Boston. Boston is a very good team who is fighting to try to get to the top of the standings in the East. They're only a couple games behind Cleveland right now. So Boston will be very much motivated. Apparently, Boston will be without their star point guard, Isaiah Thomas. That certainly helps the Nets. Boston will be favored in the game. Boston will be rested. It's going to be a tough game, but because it's in Brooklyn, that certainly helps the Nets. And like I said, the Nets nobody played more than 30 minutes, and it wasn't a grinding, super tough game tonight. So hopefully they'll be able to be fresh for tomorrow. And look, if they could win that game, that'd be incredible. And I don't think that the Nets have won consecutive games at any point this year. So that'd be the first time that they would will be able to do that this season, and it would be probably the best team they would have beaten this year, even better than Memphis. Of course, we actually have to beat Boston before I can say all these things, but should be a really fun game. Hope that you can join us for that after the game. So tomorrow, Friday, March 17th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. You can watch it on Yes Network if you're in the metro area, or on NBA League Pass. That's pretty much all I have to say. Look, it's just you can say something about Jeremy shooting tonight, but it doesn't matter. I mean, some nights you just don't shoot well. That's just how it goes. But he did everything else extremely well, and he scored when he needed to score. 15 points is no slouch. In the last 6 or so games coming into tonight, he scored about 18 points per game. Well, he's at 15 points tonight, not far off of that, and 8 assists and 1 turnover. That is phenomenal. He really ran the show. He was clutch when he needed to be, and everything's going great right now. So let's tee it up tomorrow night, and let's see what we get, and let's go for another win. So hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. We will see you in less than 24 hours, or about 24 hours, I guess, when the video is coming. We'll look for you on Twitter. We make little tweets during the game oftentimes, so check for that. You can see the Twitter on the video in front of you. We will see you then. Brooklyn Nets hosting the Boston Celtics on St. Patrick's Day 2017. Great game tonight. Looking for more of the same tomorrow as we head on to game number